Welcome back to the Velvet Chair. Tonight's story begins with paperwork, the kind nobody warns you about. When Helen's husband died, she inherited his passwords, his filing cabinet, and his bank account. She expected grief in the casseroles and the closets. She did not expect it on page 4 of a bank statement. One payment, autopay, the 11th of every month for 6 years. An electric bill, for a house she has never seen. Helen, tell me about the statement.
It was March, 11 months after Walter passed. I was closing his accounts. You have to, eventually. There's a folder they give you at the bank, Survivor Services, which is a terrible name for it, and I am thorough. 31 years cataloging books. I read every line, and there it was. Hudson Light and Power, $41.12. Autopay, the 11th of the month. And I thought, that's odd, because our house is not with Hudson Light and Power. Our utility is Con Ed. I checked the statement before it. There it was again. I went back, month after month, year after year, 72 payments, 6 years, every single month. My husband paid the electricity for a house that was not ours. The bill had an account number, and the account number had an address. Number 9, Larch Street, Coxsackie, New York, 2 hours north. I have never been to Coxsackie. To my knowledge, Walter had never been to Coxsackie. He sold insurance, Bella. 30 years, the same office, the same commute, the same thermos. He was not a man with secrets. He was a man who ironed his casual shirts.
So what did you think it was?
What would you think? I'm 62, not naive. I thought, another woman. I thought, here it comes, the second life. You hear these stories. A friend of mine found a whole apartment. So I sat with that for 2 days, and I am not ashamed to say, I went through everything. His phone records, his mileage logs. He kept mileage logs, of course he did. And nothing fit. No calls to Coxsackie, no trips north. The man was home every night for 38 years. Whatever this was, he had never once gone there. He just kept the lights on from a distance. That was somehow stranger than an affair. An affair I could have understood.
So you drove up?
I drove up a Tuesday morning, 2 hours on the thruway, and I rehearsed exactly nothing. I didn't know what to rehearse. Number 9, Larch Street turned out to be a small house, yellow, tidy but tired, the kind of house where someone is doing their best. There was a wheelchair ramp, newer than the house, and I sat in my car across the street for 40 minutes. Like a detective, like a fool. And then a woman came out onto the porch, younger than me, maybe 40, and she watered 2 pots of geraniums and went back inside. And I thought, I don't know you. I have never seen you in my life. What did my Walter have to do with your electric bill?
Did you knock?
I knocked. She opened the door with a dish towel over her shoulder, and she said, Can I help you? And I had planned to be careful. Instead, I heard myself say, My name is Helen Brandt. I think my husband has been paying your electric bill. And Bella, her face. She didn't look confused. That's what I noticed. She looked caught. She put her hand on the door frame and she was quiet for a long moment. And then she said, You're Walter's wife. Not who, not what bill. You're Walter's wife. And then she said the thing I will never forget. She said, He told us someone might come one day. Come in. It's your house too, in a way. Her name is Dana, and at her kitchen table, with coffee neither of us drank, she told me about the 11th of March, 6 years ago, Route 9W, black ice, 5:40 in the morning. Her husband, Daniel, 29 years old, was driving to the plant when his truck went through the guardrail, and the man in the car behind him, the man who saw the whole thing, pulled over, climbed down the embankment in the dark in January, and held Daniel's hand. The police report says the stranger stayed 40 minutes. The paramedics say Daniel wasn't alone. Not for 1 second of it. He didn't make it. And the stranger, the man from the car behind, was an insurance salesman, driving home from a conference. My Walter, Bella, in 6 years. He never told me. Not one word. I checked his calendar from that January. You know what it says on the 11th? Drive home, that's all. Drive home. It wasn't his fault. I need people to hear that part. The police said it. The report says it. Black ice, no one's fault. Walter's car never touched Daniel's truck. He was just the man behind him, the witness. He could have given his statement and driven home and forgotten it the way you forget accidents you pass on the highway, but Daniel died holding his hand, and Dana was home, 7 months pregnant, with a 2-year-old asleep upstairs. And somewhere between that embankment and our driveway, my husband decided he was not going to forget.
The 11th of every month.
The 11th of every month. He found out, I still don't know how, that the utility company lets you pay someone else's account, anonymously, if you set it up right. No name, no note, just paid. Dana said the first one came the month of the funeral. She thought it was an error. Then it came again and again. She called the utility. They would only say the account was in good standing. For 6 years, Bella, while she raised 2 boys alone, 1 bill never once arrived. She said, "You don't know what that 1 bill means when you're drowning. It was the only thing in my life that was just handled." She didn't know his name for the first 2 years. She called him the Light Man. Her boys thought the Light Man was something like Santa Claus.
When did she learn his name?
Year 3. There was a storm. A tree took the line down, and the power company needed the account holder to approve the repair. The anonymity broke. She got a phone number, and she called it, and my husband answered, at his desk, I suppose, 20 minutes from our kitchen. She told me, she said, "Why are you doing this?" And Walter was quiet, and then he said, "Because I was there, and I couldn't do anything. This, I can do." She asked to meet him. He said no. She asked if she could write to him. He said, "Write to Daniel's boys instead. Tell them about their father." And Bella, here's the thing. She did write him 1 letter every year at Christmas, photographs of the boys, report cards. She showed me the drafts on her phone, 6 letters. He kept them somewhere, she was sure of it. And I keep the house now, you understand. I had been through every drawer. I had found no letters.
Had you looked everywhere?
I thought so. I drove home that night and I tore the house apart a second time. Nothing. And then, around midnight, I stood in the garage looking at his workbench, Walter's workbench, which I had cleaned out in the first month because everyone tells you to keep busy, except there was a toolbox on the bottom shelf, a red one, that I had never opened because it was locked, and I assumed the key was lost, and grief makes you tired. And I stood there at midnight thinking, an insurance man does not lock a toolbox. The key was taped under the shelf. Of course it was. He taped spare keys under everything. It drove me crazy for 4 decades. And inside, there were no tools, Bella. There were 6 Christmas letters, 2 school photographs of boys I'd never met, a newspaper clipping from January 6 years ago, and on top, an envelope with my name on it.
Helen, what did the letter say?
It's short. He wrote it the week of his diagnosis by the date, so he knew, before I did, that his heart was failing. May I read it? Helen, if you're reading this, you found the bill because you read every line. It's one of about 9,000 things I love about you. I should have told you. I tried. For 6 years. But some things, if you say them out loud, you have to feel them all the way through. And I could not. A young man died on Route 9W, and the last thing he saw was my face, and I have spent every 11th of the month since trying to be worth being the last thing somebody saw. It isn't guilt exactly. The police were right. There was nothing I could do, but there was something I could do after. $41 a month to keep a porch light on for 2 boys who lost more than I ever have. If I'm gone, you owe them nothing. The autopay stops when the account closes. I only ask that you not think less of me for having one secret. It was never from you. It was just too heavy to hand to anyone. All my love, Walter. P.S. The key is under the shelf. You always find everything anyway.
Helen, is the light still on?
The account is still open. I moved the autopay to my checking. First thing the next morning, before I'd even slept, the bank manager asked if I wanted to close out Walter's arrangements, and I said, "Young man, some arrangements don't close. Dana fights me on it now. She's back on her feet. She says the boys are grown enough. She can pay her own light bill. And she can." That was never the point. I told her what I'll tell you. For 6 years, my husband carried something heavy, alone, so that a stranger's porch would never go dark. I'm not paying her electric bill, Bella. I'm finishing his sentence. The bill is in my name now.
Helen's story is fictional, but here's the question it leaves in the room. The people we love the most carry things we never see, not lies, not betrayals, just weights they've decided are theirs alone. If you found the toolbox, the one thing your person kept from you, would you feel deceived, or would you feel trusted in a stranger way with what came after? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because next week's story begins with a woman watching her nanny cam as the babysitter sings her daughter a lullaby that the mother wrote when she was 7 years old and never, ever recorded.